All right. I would like to call the City of Daytona Beach Board of Adjustment meeting of June 17, 2021 to order. Ms. Grew, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Ms. Barhu, Mr. George,
Here.
Ms. Bowler,
Here.
Mr. Gentle,
Here.
Mr. Harshaw.
Here, we have a quorum. I'd like to introduce city staff. We have Ben Gross, our Deputy City Attorney, and we have Missy Phillips from our Planning Department, and Miss Becky Groom, our Board Secretary. Can I get an approval of the May 20th, 2021 minutes, please?
I actually have a few additions.
Absolutely.
I don't know how
That's what
that's
that's about.
handled. I typed them out. I don't know how it's handled because I've never done it before. They just kind of speak to why I ended up then approving it. So I typed them out. I don't know how you handle that.
I read them in the record because they have to accept the changes.
Okay, and I don't really care where they are. So I just kind of picked a place arbitrarily because I don't remember exactly where I said some of these things. So
Did you say those things?
I think that I did say those things.
You think that you
but
said those things?
sometimes I say that to my husband and he disagrees.
Yeah.
So
Well, he
it's
was
up
talk-
to you to decide, or we could listen to the recording.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read those into the record.
Page 3, in conjunction with paragraph 9, Bowler asked whether the community room across the street could be used by Malley residents as well. It was stated that it could not be because Malley residents had disabilities and could not cross the street. Page number 3, in conjunction with paragraph 2, 3, and 4,
I'm sorry, so were you reading from the existing text or were you?
I typed this up. What do you mean?
Was this an entirely new paragraph? that you
These are
sent?
all new things
Okay.
that I typed
I didn't know
up.
if you were reading and then saying, here's what I want.
Oh, no, I'm
All
so
of that is
sorry.
new text.
I'm just going to read. There's one later where I say, and then like that comes before
Yeah.
the
So let me
language.
just say the first edition was clearly reflective of, what was said in the meeting.
I remember that.
Go on, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I do remember you saying that.
Okay. And this one's kind of related. Page number 3 in conjunction, or I think this is actually page number 5, in conjunction with paragraphs number 2, 3, and 4. Bowler asked whether the planned office space and computer lab across the street would be used by Malley residents as well, requiring them to cross the street. Ms. Leonard stated it would be. Page number 7, in conjunction with paragraph 9, Bowler stated that she did not clearly see how the request met the requirements of granting a variance. Bowler stated that, as commented earlier by another party, if the hardship was that there was no safe place for residents to seek shelter in the event of a storm event, then, and then here comes the existing language, that she could compromise if the variance request would solely apply to the addition. And the last thing is, under the board action, I feel like we had a lot of discussion, that we were just conforming to, this one addition. And I don't know, in my opinion, it wasn't clear enough in the motion. This one just relates to the board action. And I put, make clear that it is the board's intent that, other than the current community room request, no additional variance is granted for other parts of the building or future modifications to the community room, and that no part of this board action should be construed to grant conforming status to any parts of the building other than as specifically required by the current community room request.
Yeah, and that was very clear in the meeting.
But I think legally, the way the motion is stated in the minutes handles all of that.
You do?
Because that
Okay.
has the legal effect of the board action,
Okay.
what you just said.
Okay.
Yep. And if you listen to the transcripts, that's exactly
Yeah.
what
Okay.
you said. Yeah.
I didn't know if the transcripts got erased, and that's to use at your discretion.
So you would need to authorize those changes to the minutes by voice
Get
vote?
a vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve Ms. Baller's request? for
If I
change?
can,
Go ahead.
how about approving the minutes with Ms. Felder's suggested changes?
Okay. Let's get a motion to approve the minutes with Ms. Baller's request.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Ms. Groom, may I get a reading of Case A, please?
BOA 2021-004, variances from Article 4, Section 42B. Request by TAH2 LLC on behalf of Kari Cooper for a variance from Article 4, Section 42B, of the Land Development Code, to reduce the required interior side yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, and to reduce the required rear yard setback from 25 feet to 5 feet, to allow for the development of a 1,877.5 single-family home. Property is located at 925 Laura Street. Zoning on the property is single-family residential, and the future land use on the property is level 1 residential.
Thank you. Who is here to speak on this case? Could you come up to the podium? Would you,
Mr. Hughes is back there. Oh, he's awesome.
okay. Who's,
Represent the owner.
perfect. Then you come up. Yes,
I sit down.
yes, please. Yep, come on up. Come up and state your name and address for the record, and then kind of talk to us about your hardship, please.
My name is Thomas Huger. My address is 928 Sycamore Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. I represent the owner. The hardship is the irregular shape of this lot. It would make it unbuildable if those requirements are mandated that they conform to. That is the purpose of the variance request.
Okay. And the reason is, from my looking at the notes, is that it's a pie-shaped lot, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Which is presenting the problem? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can see that. Do we have any comments from the board here?
I have one.
Okay. Mr. Gentle.
The house that's gonna be built, is it similar to the ones already in the neighborhood?
Yes, sir. They would conform to the neighborhood. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They would conform to the architectural and aesthetic value of the neighborhood.
Okay, from the diagram, I see on the side with a fire hydrant, get a fire hydrant there.
Yes, sir.
What you plan to do with the fire hydrant?
Well, we were going to address that with the city before we, before we began construction. See how we can have that moved.
So then
or-
you'll be able to utilize more of the land.
That is correct.
I wasn't able to go out to the property. Talk to me about the fire hydrant. Where's the fire hydrant located on the schematic?
You would find it, let's see, as Laura Street comes and makes that turn,
Okay.
it's actually on the far left boundary of that parcel.
It's on. That's it, something?
So the driveway is here. It's all the way as you come around?
That's,
On the property.
it's on the opposite corner.
It's on the opposite corner. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see it now.
Can I make a statement?
You may, Mr. Gentle.
Okay, when that development was built, right there where the fire hydrant is now, it used to be an orange grove,
Okay.
and they put it on the property instead of on the curb, because there was no sidewalk.
Okay.
And like now, it's just, that's the only property in the old development.
That's still available?
In the
Yeah,
curb.
vacant. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts from the board?
Yes, the house that's to the east of the lot, is the back of that house right on the property line, it looks like, on, or what would be the approximate setback
I'm
of that
not
house from the
sure,
lot line, do you know?
I'm not sure exactly what that setback is.
Okay,
But I'm of the opinion it meets the requirement as a side yard rear setback. But I don't have that dimension for you.
okay.
I have one more statement.
Yes, Mr. Gentle.
I went by the property 2 days ago, maybe a week. Somebody took the signs down for the, like if anybody opposed or
For this
anything.
meeting?
Excuse
For
me?
this meeting?
Yeah,
No.
it took the signs down. So no correspondence, at all from the neighborhood.
It does appear letters were sent to all the neighbors.
Letters were sent, and we posted the property as required. We have a copy of that as a part of our application, of the property being posted.
Mr. Gentile, when did you say you drove by the property?
I drove by last week and I drove by today.
When you drove by last week, was the property posted?
No, the signs were down. The wooden sticks are still in the ground.
When last week, did you drive by there?
Excuse me?
When, what day last week?
I don't forgot now, but that's my neighborhood. My mom had the third house built in that area. So I know the area pretty good. To the left of the property, Joan Lowe, the judge, her father stayed in that house. I don't know if Gerald Chester used to own that property,
I'm not sure.
but I know that property real good because I used to pick berries and oranges and everything in that area. So I know the whole area.
Mr. Grove, what is our situation if the signs were removed for a substantial period of time? I mean, we know that everybody was mailed.
We have photographs of the signs posted on the property.
I don't doubt that they were originally up, but did anybody else here at the board go by the property? I didn't get a chance today, I was at work.
I think, Mr. Chair, as long as staff can verify, as was just done, that the property was posted, the fact that mail notice occurred,
Right.
I don't think it deprives you of jurisdiction to hear the case. However, if the board is concerned that not enough people received notice in this instance, because the signage was removed, you could continue it till the next meeting with the direction that the property be reposted. But you don't have to do that.
Right.
Could we also vote, and then if you see that it was somehow an issue, we could always review it again?
No, I wouldn't recommend that because this is a quasi-judicial
Okay.
procedure, and if you're going to make the decision to continue it in order to give other people additional notice, I would do that really before you start going too far further down the road of hearing evidence on the merits of the case.
Yeah, my opinion would be so the notices go out to anybody within so many feet, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many feet is it?
150.
150.
So it's 150 feet, they've all been notified, we are sent certified mail, registered?
No, it was not certified.
Just registered mail?
Yes.
Okay.
But I had the notarized statement that mailing took place. I
Beautiful.
also have, I'm sorry.
That's okay, no, I know that. And then the second thing is that we have pictures showing the signs were up at one
Correct.
point.
Yep, they're in the
Excuse me.
package.
You have somebody from that neighborhood right over there.
Yeah, we'll hear from somebody here shortly, okay. I personally am comfortable that notice has been given. Do I have any other position from the board that somebody's not comfortable?
I'm comfortable.
The other thing that I'd add, Mr. Chair, is it's possible with respect to this variance that the neighbors on immediately abutting this property would be what we would refer to as interested parties, meaning they might have a right of suit if the variance is granted over their objection. The fact that we allow the public to speak doesn't necessarily make the public an interested party. Notice in a 150-foot radius would have definitely been given to all of those people who would be recognized
Correct.
in a court of law as interested parties.
Okay.
And those are the people who arguably have a due process right to be here. So.
Yep, I agree. Okay, good. All right, at this point, if you'd sit for a second, we're going to hear from other members. So you would like to speak to this case, sir? Yes. Okay, if you'll do me a favor, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Denzel, that's Denzil, last name Mills. My address is 920 Emma Street.
Okay, all right, talk to us.
Well, I've been in the neighborhood since 1989, so I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. My house was built brand new, and that corner lot is a very small lot. Actually, on my property, someone's already encroached, put a fence on my property. I kind of let that go. But in this instance, I'd rather stick with the codes. I don't want to have someone within 5 feet of my property if that is not the code, if that's not the law. I just think that's too close.
Where are you located
So I would
Do
be,
you have a copy of the schematic?
Sir, could you come on over here for a minute?
Sure.
And what I'm doing is I'm showing the gentleman the aerial map that's on
Schematic.
page 1 of the staff report.
Good.
Are you on the property at the corner here of Emma and Laura Street, right next to the property?
so I am, so this is Emma,
Right.
and this is Laura. I am right here.
Okay. So this is, if you're looking at the
looking at
the
it.
aerial map on page 1, this is the property immediately to the right or east of the subject property.
So the corner lot there?
The corner the northwest corner of Laura and Emma.
I'm not exactly on the corner.
Second house.
I'm east of it.
Oh, okay.
There is a house on the corner,
Oh,
and
Mr. Mills,
Yes,
could you come right here?
okay.
Tell me personally, for me, are you this house?
Yes, that would be that house. Oh, that's,
Okay.
so.
Here's
this
the
is-
lot.
This is not an exact location of the lot, because there is a house here. There's a house here, and then my house is here. So there is a house that faces right here on Laura, I think it is, yep. So there's an empty lot, there's a house here, and my house is back here, the house is all around.
Wait a minute. Wait,
So this doesn't necessarily show,
that can't be right. This is an aerial map
well,
by a satellite.
yeah, this is what I'm trying to see. They're showing the empty lot.
Correct.
Okay, so there's this house.
Yes, there's this
That's not
house.
my house.
Okay.
That would be my house.
Your house is the second house then?
Yes.
Okay. So
But
you're the
this
second house.
This house actually faces that way. I'm the
Right.
first house that faces
I
that
got
way.
you. Okay. I thought you were
Oh,
saying there
yeah.
was another couple houses.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
I'm sorry.
Okay, that can't be right.
I just,
Okay,
I
I
just
see.
spotted it, but yeah, that would be my house.
Okay.
So there's this house, there's this, and there are houses all around me.
Okay.
your house.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so some of that wasn't into the microphone, but I heard it.
Yeah, I can
So if I understand things correctly, his house is immediately to the north of the house at the corner.
Okay.
The southwest corner of his
Okay.
lot
That is correct.
is adjacent to the northeast corner of the subject.
That is
Okay.
exactly right.
Right.
Which is technically the first house on Emma Street because the other driveway faces a different way. Okay.
Okay.
Correct. Because the other house probably has a Laura Street address.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
right, Emma. Okay, good.
Is
Mr. Connors.
that corner lot that's south of you, are there owners living in that house or are they tenants?
That is a good question. The original owner passed away, then a relative moved in, and it's been going through several different owners. Current people that's there, they haven't been there that long, and I don't know them personally. I'm in and out all the time.
Mr. Mills, do you know approximately the square footage of your home?
Oh,
Just roughly.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm not sure if it's 1,200 square feet.
12.
But I hate to guess. Yeah.
I was looking at the aerial, I was trying to get an idea how big your house was. This house is going to be 1,877 square feet total.
About 12.
And from what I'm looking at, obviously, the person that's directly to the right, they've obviously had a property line issue as well because of the irregular shape.
Yes, someone is on.
How else do you put a house on this lot
Yeah,
without building something incredibly, incredibly small?
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And,
When you refer to this lot, you're referring to the empty lot it's in question now? Okay.
yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, how do you meet the side yard
Excuse me.
setbacks? Go ahead.
If that, fire hydrant wasn't there, you could change, the blueprint for the way the house is built compared to where it's illustrated in the thing.
And more go towards that direction?
Yeah.
And
But
couldn't you-
one side of that curve is longer than the other side.
Oh, I agree. I'm looking at where they're putting the house.
Could you not go up 2 stories rather than single story? Is that
Well,
code
of course,
issues?
yeah, that's always an option. I guess the question is, depending on your age, whether you want 2 stories or not.
I understand, I'm just looking for the space of the house.
Right.
Versus coming up against, I mean, if there's, well, my concern is that the people that are living adjacent to that property, unless they're in the audience, may or may not be the owners of those homes. Therefore, even if mail went to them, would the owner of the house receive that mail?
I think it would, because
know-
I think they have the chance to like,
No,
the address of the property and the mailing address might be different.
If I may
Yeah.
approach, sir, I have the mail list.
Mr. Mills, if you'd take a seat, we'll have Mr. Huger come back up.
I also, like, I tried to twist around the house and see if there was like a better orientation, but with the, you know, like the neighboring house has the driveway there, which means that the garage is right behind it, and that's probably the least personal area of a house, right? Like you don't tend to like, you don't sleep in your garage, and so I thought, you know, then I ended back up saying, well, the two driveways with the two garages butting each other is probably the best use of where the houses should be close. You know, because you don't tend to, it's not like two bedrooms would be near each other. Does that make sense?
It does. Do we have is there a code in the city that driveways can only be so close to each other?
Not that they can be so close to each other, they have to be 5 feet from each side property line.
Okay. I know there's some municipalities where they will not allow driveways to be close. So if you're building a house, this driveway has to be at this end of the property, and this driveway has to be at this other end of the property. They don't want them where they're really close together. Okay.
If,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, the applicant's representative did ask if he could
Yes.
come to the dais and present additional information.
Come on back up, Mr. Huger.
Yes, sir, I just wanted to provide clarification on the mailing.
Yes.
And just share with you the mail list that we get from Volusia County Property Appraiser.
This is part of the package.
Addressed to the owner at their last known address.
Okay.
So the requirement in our land development code is that notice be sent to the people in ownership as listed on the tax roll.
So if it's a seasonal home, then it's the mailing address, not the physical location address, correct?
The address is the owner of the property as they're listed according to the property appraiser. So it's wherever the owner resides at, that's their
Right.
mailing address.
Show this to the chair, please.
Yes, sir.
The paper that he has in his hand is in everyone's packet.
yeah, it's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
And it shows other mailings going to other areas in Sanford and around
Yep.
Daytona Beach, outside the neighborhood and stuff,
Yeah,
so,
that'd be normal.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other comments, questions from the board?
I have a question, sir. On where the house is sitting on the lot right now, if you was to rotate clockwise a little bit, where just the points, the corners of the houses were near the lot lines instead of the entire house, is that a possibility? Does that make,
Surely. That can be, but it still will require a variance.
right? But we have, my concern if also is for the neighbor that's mostly on the east side of the lot there. And you've got the entire house now butting up pretty, possibly 5 feet from their property line. It looks like their house is very close to that property line also.
Well, just so you know, the required setback for both of those lots is the same. So the lot to the east should have a 10-foot side yard. It
Okay.
does have a 10-foot side yard setback.
I wasn't sure, because at the last meeting, my first meeting, which was the last one,
Yeah.
the houses were built prior to the establishment of the codes and stuff, so I didn't know if this was the same.
And that could be the case with.
Yeah, I mean, we don't actually, my point is, we don't actually know factually how far that house is from the lot line.
Right, I'm just
But the
looking.
setback would be 10 feet.
Okay, so that one's 10 feet, and,
So, Mr. Huger, you're hearing the board's concern. When we address a lot of these issues, we're trying to prevent neighbors staying good neighbors. And when you run into we're pushing it pretty tight here. I think that's why you're hearing the board saying, okay, if you were to catty corner the house or do something different, it's still going to require a variance. I think what I'm hearing from the board is they're very, very concerned about that side being that close to the adjacent neighbor. Because really, you've asked to go from, what was your numbers again? You want to go, that's the side yard? So you're looking to take 5 feet away from the side yard, and you want to take 20 feet away from the back, from the rear yard.
Although one thing to point out, Mr. Chair, about that 20-foot setback is Setbacks are usually based on the idea that a lot has 4 sides. This lot has only 3 sides.
sides, yeah, it's a
And if this were a 4-sided lot and you were looking at it from the perspective of the neighbor to the left of the lot as you're facing it from the street,
Oh, yeah.
that neighbor would normally expect to have a house 10 feet away,
Right.
not 25 feet.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the back of the property, just the way because of the way the
Yeah, I don't either. because
that,
it
it's
really
just,
doesn't affect-
it's just the one house on the east that I was concerned about. And I didn't know if you rotated the house clockwise a little bit, so just the 2 corners hit those property lines with the variance, or what if you built a 1,600 square foot house and just made it 5 feet shorter, take up less land would be the east side of the lot there, If you took out 200.
I understand what you're saying, what you're suggesting. I would like to ask the gentleman who has an issue, if he could please elaborate on the hardship it would create him for this house to be located as it's laid out by the surveyor, other than a wish, or I'd like for it to be. But what is really the hardship in building this house as proposed?
Well, the hardship for you is that you have an irregular shaped lot.
Yes.
Okay. The hardship for your neighbor is the fact that we have codes so that we don't build houses directly butting up against each other to try to keep neighbors being good neighbors.
Right.
So anytime, I've been on this board for a very long time, when I look at this, I always say, what kind of an influence is it going to have on the neighbors, the adjacent properties? And when I look at this one, it's very, very close to the neighbor because their whole side of their house is sitting there and your whole side. Now, Mrs. Bowler made a good point that I think it's garage to garage, which is helpful. So it's not like, okay, bedroom windows and things of that nature. But, from listening to Mr. George, Mrs. Bowler, everybody, to me, it's pretty close. We pushed it all the way to the edge of that property as far as we possibly could. But, Ms. Bowler, you want to say something, correct?
I have a question. So the size of the house isn't an issue here at all, right? Like, it's more than within the limit of the property size.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you've got the criteria in the land development code. If you think that the size of the house is an issue,
No, I
Then it's an
don't.
issue.
I'm saying it's not, right? Like, it's,
one of the criteria is the variance the minimum necessary to allow reasonable use of the land or structure. So it's up to you to decide whether,
I guess I just see the house size as being reasonable. It seems like when I try to draw it out, and it seems like so the problem for me is here, I totally agree with what you're saying, but this is actually a lot that would have a hardship because it's so irregularly shaped, where some of the others seem like they also have a 5 feet setback. At some point we have to stop approving this type of stuff, but at least this one has this weird shape and they have a reason to have a hardship because they don't have a true 4-sided lot, where some of the others seem like they got this benefit and there was nothing wrong with their lot. And so I just kind of question that.
I have a question.
Mr. Jensen?
He said he was gonna try to get the city to move the fire hydrant.
Okay.
If you get the fire hydrant moved, the house could be shifted over.
Is that true?
I don't see how how it's going to change the side yard setback.
Well, the
Still
plot.
5 feet.
Yeah,
The plan plot.
the northwest
and it
corner of the
shows-
house would still be,
It's still going to have.
it's still going to be at the edge, the northwest corner of the house itself. It would still be too close to the line there. You wouldn't be able to move the house in a westerly direction if you moved that fire hydrant.
There's a utility easement, and it shows the fire hydrant right there on that northwest corner.
What is the required adjustment from the front of the property line to the front of the house? How much distance has to be there? Is that,
For
25 feet.
If you go by the width of the lot, it would either be 25 or 30 feet.
okay. Not what it is now, but what is the the law, what is the requirement?
Is this SFR 5?
Correct. Mhm.
I can tell you that
It
in a
would be
minute.
25 or 30. I'm just not sure what the lot width, what we're considering
Okay,
the front.
all right. So it's, as it's on the plan now, it's already set to where it's legally supposed to be, pretty much.
Correct.
You wouldn't be able to move that forward to give more room.
I can tell you definitively that because the front yard here is greater than 60 feet, then the front yard setback here would be 30 feet.
30.
Okay, and do we have the authority, this board, to shorten that front variance to allow the house to come more centered in the lot and away from the,
So I like the idea of twisting it, but if you twist it, then it has like no driveway.
it would just come, it would, the driveway would just come to this portion.
But it's like,
If you rotate,
but you have to twist it so this would still fit, you know? Because like the length of the house would still fit.
right?
And then like here's the house and then there's like, I mean, I'm not
Right.
an architect.
So-
So this is not to scale, but then I feel like there would be no
Do
driveway.
you have a copy of the notice?
So I guess that's why.
Of
Okay.
the mailing notice?
I don't know, because I like the idea of
Should
twisting
be
it.
in there.
Right. But if we could shorten this front
Where his
variance 10 feet,
packages.
if it's supposed to be 25, if we made that 15, and move, the house could be moved this way more into the center of the lot and away from,
I would tell you that if you were looking at doing that, this should be renoticed and it should go out again because you're talking about encroaching into the front yard setback. And the notice here was specific as to the encroachments that were requested.
right?
Question for you, back to Mrs. Balor's comment, looking at the size of the house. This house is 1,877.5 square feet, right? How big's the garage? Do you know?
20 by 20.
So you have 400, it's really not that big of a house.
Yeah, it's
We
really
got
not that
14
big of a
So
house.
really, we have 1,400 square foot of living area roughly, and then we've got a 400 square foot garage.
And I feel like for us to say, oh, if you cut 1 foot off each side, you know,
Do-
it's like, who knows what that does to the inside, like,
Right.
I think it's worth clarifying that for the record and maybe ask that as a question. Is 1877 living area only, or is that the total
No,
square?
I think is that the total square footage?
Yeah, that's the footprint of the building.
Okay.
So that's the entire house. So really, you're looking at 1,400 something square foot of living area with a 400 square foot two-car garage, which is a very reasonable sized house for this lot, in my opinion. I mean, getting much smaller than that, that's a pretty tiny house,
I agree.
you know? And again, we're dealing with an irregular, you know, again, my biggest concern was just that it's jutting against that house straight on. But
Is it? I have a question. Is the construction, is it going to be a block or stick house? Block house? Thank you.
I don't know how you position any better.
I don't either, because I don't like the 5 feet, but if you twist it, you lose the driveway, and then we're back to the street parking, and if you shorten it, it becomes even smaller, you know?
I mean,
I think it's
yeah.
better for the neighborhood to have a bigger house and a bigger driveway and a bigger garage, like, and that other owner, you know, is not here.
Obviously, they're not expressing
So-
concern. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I look, you know, over my years, and people are trying to put very massive houses on a piece of property, and you're like, yeah, no. But in this situation, you know, asking somebody to have a house that's less than 1,400 square feet of living area, going to 1,200 or something, that's a pretty tiny house at this point. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Comments?
I know we've
Mr. Connor?
discussed this before, Mr. Gross, but as far as fire code goes, houses being that close are not a problem,
Well,
correct?
it either is or it isn't, but there's no variance that's requested or being granted with regard to the fire code. So you cannot grant a variance to the fire code.
Right,
Presumably,
okay.
this has been reviewed or would be reviewed for compliance with that.
All right, so the fire code will set precedent.
The fire code is the fire code. And if you granted a variance that allowed the property to be developed to the lot line, but the fire code prevented it, they would not be able to build to the lot line.
Thank you.
Many of our new subdivisions are being built with 5-foot lot lines, side setbacks, many of the new ones.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience to speak for or against? You'll have to come back up to the microphone, please.
Yes. I think my concern is the problems that may arrive is not here currently. They will only arrive after the house is built, and I think that the code was designed to protect us from further issues that may arise with the house being that close to all our properties. And we've lived in that neighborhood with, this was a setting for so long, and suddenly something comes up that we can't predict the impact until it's actually built and people move in and it's a living condition, and it just may be a negative situation after. So I think that I'm protected by the code so that this does not occur. That's basically why I'm here.
I think one of the points that I would look at is I would say, okay, if somebody wants a reasonable use of that property, what is the reasonable use of that property? We're already building a 1,400 square foot living area house. How small do we go? And we're still going to violate some of these setbacks because it's a pie-shaped lot. So
Sure.
your thoughts on that or what?
Yeah, not being an engineer and not being able to get into that, I guess I'd have to leave that up to you guys. I basically just voice my concern and leave the rest up to everyone else. Whatever you guys decide, then I live with it.
I mean, I like to give people a reasonable use of their land.
I understand that.
So when we're working with irregular lots like this, it gets very challenging. I'm sure that Mr. Huger has looked at this lot about 1 billion times trying to figure out how to get a house in here so that he doesn't have to come to this meeting.
Yeah, actually, I've looked at it 1 billion times also wondering how are they ever going to build a house on it? Because the lot is crooked, it's small, it's just like,
Right.
it's almost a wasted piece of land as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's
Well, now,
unfortunate. And I, in my personal opinion, as a board member, a 1,400 square foot house with a 2-car garage does not seem unreasonable to me.
probably not. And again, the size of the house wasn't my concern. I think the
Oh, I know.
proximity,
Yeah.
Right. No,
which
I
is
hear
something that
exactly
I've
what you're
never
saying.
had to deal with, you know.
And I do agree exactly with what you're saying. It's just that this
Yeah.
is a weird shape.
Yeah, so I see the dilemma is the land need to be used for some reason at some point, so
Right.
we have to do whatever is necessary to make it.
Somebody owns that
Feasible.
land and they
Yeah.
want to put a house
And
on it.
that's-
How do you fix that?
Of course, that's your job still.
Right.
Yeah, I voice my complaint and you guys decide that, yeah. And this gentleman behind me, of course, yeah.
Thank you for your comments.
Anyway, yeah, that's my thing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Oh, yeah, but thank you for
Oh, absolutely.
coming.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
I imagine the rest of my neighbors might have, but like I said, they work, they're out, and I'm surprised no one else but me. But
Yeah. But we appreciate you coming and, you
Thank you
know,
for coming in.
thank you. Bye.
At this point, can I get a motion for,
I-
oh, I'm sorry.
Eddie, you live in the neighborhood, you know the neighborhood. Do you think building a house on this lot in this dimension will decrease the property values of the adjacent homes?
Will it do decrease?
Decrease it,
No.
okay.
The only problem we would have, being that's built in the curve, the parking, if they have company, it would stop it would impede the traffic. It's a narrow street anyway, you know.
Well,
And one
Yeah.
more thing, if they could put the garage on the other side of the house where the fire hydrant is at,
My concern with that is typically when you're designing a house, it's going to depend on where the master bedroom is and the bedrooms. As Ms. Ballard made the comment, the garage side is usually less obtrusive on a house because most of the time it's a wall. You've got your cars in there. So if there's any windows, you're looking at a vehicle or something, you're not looking into somebody's bedroom.
yeah, but it's right next to another garage.
Which is
The
even better.
property that
Which is
Judge-
even better from a privacy standpoint.
Judge Lowe, father's house, that side is a garage. And if you move the garage from that side, from the south side, and put it over on the north side,
I don't see what that does because when I look at this, I am always looking at privacy issues. People living in harmony. And again, I think Ms. Ballard made the comment, and I would agree with her, is that a garage is probably the less obtrusive area. If you're gonna butt up against somebody, I'd rather have my garage butt against them than one of my children's bedrooms or my bedroom or something along those lines. That's my thoughts.
And it'd be a garage-to-garage
Correct.
setting there.
It's a garage-to-garage situation, so, yeah, yeah. All right. Any other comments? All right. Can I ask for a motion in case A, please?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Ms. Groom, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Ms. Bowler?
Yes.
Mr. Gentle?
No.
Mr. Harshaw?
Yes. 4 to 1. Okay. Approved.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ms. Groom, can I get a reading of case B, please?
BOA 2021-005, variances from Article 4, Section 42B. The request by Cobb Cole on behalf of Home Spring Hope LLC and City of Daytona Beach for a variance from Article 4, Section 42B of the Land Development Code to reduce the required interior side yard setback from 7.5 feet to 5 feet to allow for the development of a 1,477 square foot single-family home. Property is located at 540 Spruce Street. Zoning on the property is single-family residential, and the future land use on the property is level 1 residential.
Ms. Groom, would you read into record the letter we received from Cobb Cole, please? Who is representing?
Addressed to Missy from,
And Mr. Gentle has to leave at this point.
okay. I'm emailing you, emailing to notify you that we would like to formally withdraw our variance application for the Spruce Street lot. We appreciate your help in this matter, signed by Nick Lucini.
Thank you. Okay, so case B has been withdrawn.
Take my new telephone
Can
number.
I get a review of cases, Ms. Groom?
Case A was approved 4-1.
So
and
new,
case
I don't
B
even
was
know.
withdrawn.
Thank you. Does anybody have any new business for the board?
Yeah, there's actually 2 items, Mr. Chair.
386
One, you
301.
need to have a vice chair, but with Mr. Gentile leaving, at this point, you can't take any official action, so.
We'll have to do that at the next
At the
meeting.
next meeting. Also, I just wanted to give the board a heads up that the change in quorum that was originally discussed with this board, where the quorum would depend on the number of board members present at any one time, that's going to go back to the planning board with the recommendation that the quorum just be changed to a straight 4 persons, which is what it is for other 7-member boards.
Perfect.
I just wanted to let the board.
I thought that was already in the works.
The change was going to be a little bit more malleable than that. The quorum would have depended to some extent on the number of people who are then appointed to the board and
Okay.
currently serving. Now it's just going to be 4.
4 members and we have approved.
Right.
That works.
Instead of 5, which
Yeah,
is what it
that's great.
currently is.
Okay, good. Okay, so we'll need to vote in a vice chair next time.
Yeah, I just have right now we have 6 standing members, correct?
I don't know if
We
it,
have an open seat.
We have an open seat.
Has anybody approached that board, that district about getting that seat filled?
What district? That's Mr. Gentle's. I had found somebody for mine because I thought it was an alternate. So I have somebody, but not for, he lives where I live.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't say that into the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
right.
Harley Davis, planner with the city. I just wanted to let everybody know, we actually, I believe, have 2 open seats. One for Mr. Libby, who hasn't been filled, that's Beachside, Aaron Delgado's district.
Yeah.
And we also have what just became available, Mr.
Stein?
Stein.
Steins, Aaron.
Okay.
And where's his district?
I believe he was appointed by the mayor, which I
Oh, well, then I have
He was
somebody
appointed
for
by- he was
him.
appointed by the mayor.
I have somebody, but he's in my, I'm zone 3. I'm with Kelly White and Quinita, like Zone 3, right? And so then he lives in the lofts, I think, so.
I'll have to look into that because I think Mr. George became our at-large.
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Because we had written about that and you had said that that was filled. So if it changes, I will
Well,
call
because
him again.
I need to clarify with Becky that I'm confused because I thought Larry Riley was also our at-large and we never had replaced him once he left.
Correct.
So
It's
that,
confusing,
and then
yeah.
if Mr. Stein says he was appointed by the mayor, how did that work? I need to look into that.
Okay. Yeah, because I reached out to Mr. Delgado, and I have not heard back from him, but I was begging him to try to find somebody from his area to fill in, because I told him the urgency of it, where people's cases would, wouldn't move forward as a result.
Especially as we're going through the summer months and it's going to be more and more difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting very concerned about Mr. Gentle, because he made some comments about resigning for health reasons.
Right.
Yes.
So I think he made that mention, I think it was last month that he talked to me a little bit about it. So we're falling quick.
Oh, we are, and all I can say is reach out to your commissioners and such because I don't really know how much advertising the city themselves do.
Okay.
I would think that.
I don't know too many
I would
people
think
from the
that a
area. I'm not from
Commissioner
here.
would love to, ask somebody.
Yeah. Do you just want me to have him fill out the online thing so his application is in?
Yes. If we can get that moving, I'll also reach out to Miss Betty Goodman
Okay.
because something's not making sense here because she told me that it was just Delgado's district and then Mr. Gentle's and Commissioner Reed's district. But we used to have 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it was like one and then one or two alternates.
yeah.
Just one alternate.
One
We
alternate.
had one alternate.
So,
I'll look.
okay. Thanks.
Well, it could be COVID's coming to a conclusion, so maybe more people are going to be looking to be venturing out at this point.
I hope so.
Yeah, you would think, though, if you reached out to the commissioner of the district, I don't know who does this, but somebody reach out to the commissioner of the district and suggest, hey, why don't you, find someone, we need somebody for the BOA. That person, I would imagine that commissioner would step up and say, yeah, let me, it's not a big deal.
This is the perfect board too. It's at 1 o'clock. Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to stay late. A lot of our boards don't even start till 6 p.m. So.
Oh, yeah. No, this is
This is a good one. I
It's like
think.
the country club board. Now, we used to get
board.
nice pina coladas back years ago, but they somehow.
Missy, do you hear that?
I can make things happen. Just tell me what you need.
Yeah, that's,
I'm going to throw her under the bus here. She is a wonderful baker, so maybe if y'all are nice to her, she might bake a cake and bring it in.
I've been looking for some pay. I mean, a Toll House cookie really goes a long way.
I can make things happen.
establishing a quorum, yeah.
I make a motion, we adjourn unless there's any other business.
Second.
We are adjourned.